Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 10 billionth edition of Nerdletter Talk, starring your favorite boring enterprise nerds, myself, Paul Moderman, and the ever incredible Yelena Perfilieva. Um, this is where we just talk about the things we're going to write about, and then we often don't write about the things we talk about, or we write about different things too. But nevertheless, we kind of plan our newsletter in public. So without further ado, let's talk about what we're thinking about this week. Yelena, go ahead and share with us.
Awesome. All right. Gonna share my screen. So I've noticed that kind of scarily a lot of content that comes my way and that I end up writing about happens on LinkedIn these days,
Yeah.
which is probably a story by itself,
Yeah.
but maybe a story for another edition.
Yeah.
There were surprisingly again for LinkedIn there were several pretty good posts that I want to
Mm.
kind of bring to our reader's attention and also have some comments on. So this is turns out to be second installment in the series of adventures in offline ABAP development from Alexander.
Uh,
You can see Alexander is actually FICO consultant, so it was very interesting for me to read about this experience for someone who is not professional ABAP developer.
mhm.
And I thought that what he describes, it's actually very reasonable even for a developer. So if you want to just take kind of Alexander's lead and follow his process, that would be valid for any environment. And I honestly, as a compliment to Alexander, I was pretty surprised how he is well versed with ABAP Git, ABAP Lint, and all of the concepts.
Yeah.
So good for you, Alex. You know,
Not everyone is. Yeah.
you go, boy. I don't know if that works for men, or if they find it offensive slightly. But anyway, I mean it in a good way. So yeah, good, very nice kind of skill set to have. And so just a couple of items from this article. So one of them is so this is an interesting subject that he pointed out. He talks about vertical task split. And first I read it like I don't understand what you mean, but he's saying so typically development tasks are kind of horizontal. It's like I need to do this first, then I need to do this. They're very much recipe like maybe in a way. But here he's talking about more like what he's calling vertical task split, that doing like pieces, bit of selection, bit of business logic, bit of UI.
Hmm.
Um, it is an interesting approach. I looked at like I'm not quite sure if this would work, and it's um it's kind of sort of agile maybe
Hmm.
approach, because that's what we sometimes try to do, just get like the first demo out. And to get any demo you usually need to do exactly that. You need to
Yeah.
beat in all the layers. So but yeah, I just found it interesting that he found it seems to be like beneficial for AI assisted development. So
Yeah.
don't sleep on this tip. Yeah.
I've never heard that term before, vertical
Yeah.
task split.
Yeah,
Huh.
me either. Yeah, but I mean, just interesting observation.
Yeah.
So and also he's finding that AI assisted tasks took roughly the same time as human developer would need. So AI did not automatically reduce the delivery time, and he found different benefits. I
Mm.
sometimes I did feel the same way, and because it mostly what I tools that I use typically, they're not very complicated because I don't really have a need to do like massive AI assisted development just because I work for different clients. So every client has their own needs. And
Yeah.
also I mostly these days I'm called in to solve very particular issue. And then honestly, AI is really of not much use there. So that's just specific of my work. So
Hmm.
not like reflection on AI possibilities.
Hmm.
However, if I use like something like Gemini, most likely, or even ChatGPT, doesn't matter, to just bang out some kind of utility ABAP report, that's kind of sometimes what I end up having. That time wise, it may not be faster because I constantly have to do like, no, bro, like you did a mistake here, or you need to do this better, and get rid of Hungarian notation, all of that crap.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, it's not like I need to sit there and bang on my keyboard.
Yeah.
So it's more like maybe like duration, it's kind of the same, but I can give it instructions and then just go like switch to another tab and do something else in the
Hmm.
meantime. And also, honestly, as I grow older, I kind of resent those tedious, purely manual and mechanical tasks. It's kind of just
Yes.
super boring stuff,
Oh, I
like
hate
sitting
them.
there, like typing
I
stupid
hate them.
stuff. Like, so if that, saves me from that, it's good. And I find um, I've heard similar sentiments when we started talking about better user experience in SAP space, and those conversations started years ago. And I remember when Fiori and all the new, UI and UX came about, people were like, "Well, what is exactly? How do you measure the value of it?"
Hmm.
And it wasn't really necessarily clear, like monetary value. Very similar. There wasn't like, "Oh, now it's faster, so we can calculate cost of literally saving, spending less time on this." It's more like now it's just more pleasant, so
Yeah.
it's just not as tedious, not as boring as it used to be.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's a valid benefit. So yeah, very interesting post, interesting comments here as well. And yeah, looks like there will be more of this, so I definitely encourage you to read this and maybe share your own experience here as well.
Yeah.
So
I'm only going
yeah,
to add one thing here, which is
sure.
that this offline dev model
Mm,
is exceedingly powerful for the
yeah,
AI workflows.
yeah,
This is this is not a plug, not a shell, or whatever, but this is the way Nova does it too, right? So
yeah.
we do it the offline style, and it's incredibly powerful. Incredibly
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, and honestly, it's kind of sort of what I also kind of tend to do. I don't like go into my, Eclipse or SAP GUI much less and just run some things there, but just usually just download something and then work with purely with the files. Sometimes not even going into SAP system until I get the code. I have the code ready to go. So yeah,
Mm,
and again, thank God to to Lars for ABAP Kit. That
yeah.
honestly just a lifesaver. And
Yep.
yeah, just so many good things. All right. So second subject. So in this issue, like Paul, I'm going like again like full AI. It's just impossible to escape these days.
It
So
can't.
it's
It can't be done.
yeah, like what else is there to talk about even? It's like internal tables, like it's just boring. So this is non SAP LinkedIn post, and first I've noticed the picture, of course, and it's a funny picture. I mean, and Daniel
Yeah.
Craig. I mean, how can you not like this?
Yeah.
But the post that came with it, it looks like AI, at least like assisted, but there were still some valid points in it. So, for example, where was it? So liability stays human. The AI doesn't get this 3 a.m. pager duty alert. So I think that is, I mean, obviously very, very true. And at the same time, this is, I think, the point that so many posts, especially LinkedIn, are just missing like entirely. And to piggyback from this, I also seen the posts. I don't want to share them because they're not good. And they were like, "Oh, now AI makes the code generation easier so you can get like more code." But like you could, but maybe should you? Like, is this a good approach? Because I mean, yeah, you can, it's easier, faster, but responsibility for this code, it's not going away from your like IT team.
Yeah.
And it's like if imagine like worst case scenario, like your magical AI is like down and you have a production issue and stuff happens. So what now? So what's going to happen without any kind of human backup? I think you will be pretty much screwed with your multi-million code line code base. So I think that's kind of the main kind of point that I'm trying to look at in this for this story. That maybe like don't get like over overboard with this. Like still
Yeah.
still consider that responsibility is not going away. So
Yeah. And I would, so the thing I would add too is that Like the only time that AI assisted development should result in more code is if you as a team are delivering value that the business then asks for more things,
Yeah,
right? It should only like more code is bad, good, indifferent, whatever.
yeah,
If it's more code for the same stuff, like ugh, stay away. If it's
yeah,
more code because you accelerated some part of your process to increase the feedback loop into like
yeah,
the features that the business needs,
yeah,
awesome. Then you did it right. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
short of that, you're holding it wrong. You're
yeah.
doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
And as you know, we usually try to do like three stories, and but sometimes we do two as well, or maybe four. I mean, there is there is no editor sitting and
yeah,
holding
yeah,
us accountable. I'm not sure if that might become a short story or not, but I just thought I would at least mention this in this video. There have been also strange takes on this new ABAP in VS Code. And the takes are
yeah,
strange in a way that's like trying to compare Eclipse to ABAP in Eclipse specifically with ABAP in VS Code as if Eclipse is like old legacy and now like VSC is modern. And now, thankfully, thanks, big guy SAP for saving us. Now we see the light, and developers finally can ABAP developers can come out of their caves where they have been hiding, I guess, I don't know, for 20 years, and now they finally can do modern development. And like, well, that's a load of bullshit. I mean, honestly, I don't know how to put it. That's why it would be short story
yeah,
probably in our newsletter. I mean, first of all, developers have been doing like modern development all the time. It's like definition of modern is always shifting in ABAP
yeah,
because modern, it's not like architectural style. Like there is certain like name for modern style, which refers to, I think, what, like 50s, 60s or something. Strangely, it's not like contemporary. So we had ABAP objects. We have been doing object-oriented programming, and ABAPers have always been very, I think, there is a lot of ingenuity in ABAP
yeah, yeah,
development
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because we're limited.
Yes.
We're stuck between business users who want everything and kitchen sink, and SAP that doesn't want to deliver kitchen sink at all. So we have to be kind of creative and also staying within those guardrails to to do our job essentially. And it's kind of pains me to hear all the time about developers like we're some kind of dum dums that need to be saved by someone. So I think developers have been doing okay for a long time. Will continue doing okay. And honestly, what IDE we use, that is not really, I think. I mean, it's important, but it's not like a some kind of game changer or some kind of
Yeah.
life-changing event for like the regular type of developer.
I'm thinking about this now too. And
Yeah.
so, because I have done a lot of like, I've done, so in my career, I've done like non-ABAP stuff kind of
Mm,
mixed in. I've kind of waved in and out of ABAP and other, languages and frameworks and things like that for the past 10, 15 years.
mm,
And like, I would say that for any ecosystem, ABAP, Python, TypeScript, whatever, there's a distribution
mm.
of some people at the bleeding front edge of
Yeah.
what that ecosystem provides
Yeah.
or makes possible.
Yeah.
A great majority of people kind of in the middle of like where they're comfortable, and
Mm,
then like some tail end of people who are just dinosaurs who can't change. But
mm.
it's like that's not as many as you think, I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And the part of this distribution that really affects it is the tools available in that ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So ABAP developers have probably seemed on the to the outside view to be like these behind the times, like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Mm.
But there has always been and always will be a crew of people at the bleeding edge.
Yeah.
A great majority of people who are using the sort of the standard things and not really doing much else
Yeah.
because they go home and they don't think
Yeah.
about work, and
Yeah.
that's
Which
awesome.
is fine, and that's majority,
And
definitely.
then a tail end
It's
of people
okay.
who are like, I only want to like scratch the files on directing onto a disk somewhere and like
Yeah.
turn it back into a server or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like I my contention is that those distributions and the boundaries of those distributions are not very different,
Mm.
except for the ABAP people just have always lacked the extra tools
Yeah.
because they're much more closely tied to the vendor itself
Yeah.
of that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
For outside of that factor, I think ABAPers are like essentially the same kind of creatures
Yeah.
as pick your flavor of developer out there
Yeah,
in the world.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And honestly, most likely every profession on
Yeah.
Earth is exactly like that. There are good doctors, maybe not so good ones, sadly, like bakers or candlestick makers, probably. So nowhere, nowhere offending candlestick maker community.
Now, now we'll never get invited to CandleCon
Oh, damn.
2026.
Damn it, damn it. Too late.
Um,
So yeah, so that's kind of my I don't know bonus material, bonus rant maybe for video only. So yeah, over to you, Paul.
yes. Okay. So,
Ooh.
I've talked about this before, but now, as of a month or two ago, there is SAP RPT 1.5. So
Mm,
earlier when we saw it, it was SAP RPT 1. Now with 1.5, there's a little bit more juice in here.
mm.
So let me go in here.
I think they want to pronounce it rapid for some reason, like
Oh,
SQL, SQL,
I don't
whatever.
know.
I don't know. That's how they rapid ones. That's how they said in keynote, which
I
I
feel
couldn't
like
understand what they were talking about. But then they showed
yeah,
like RPT. I'm like, oh, like RPT. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
Just
know.
sorry,
Yeah.
just passing by commentary. That's fine.
I think I think my brain is stuck on GPT, and
Yeah,
that's what makes me keep saying RBT.
honestly, I
Um,
say RPT too. I have no idea if they are rapid
yeah,
ideas stick with
yeah.
community.
Because I think yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm gonna get stuck on that.
uh,
Blah, blah, blah.
never mind.
Uh, what's great is I think there's one thing that's great out of the box right away, and I think this is probably the better thing than anything else because I don't have I have not gone and done like an evaluation on the actual predictive capabilities of
Mm-hmm.
1.5. I don't know whether these predictions are better than one.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably they are because they've trained it more or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I haven't tried that. But what's great is that they've now got it so it's got this like instruction following chat that can go with it.
Mm-hmm.
That is like easier to handle things. So you can have you can like tell the model what to do, and it will like take those actions against the data set here,
Mm-hmm.
and then it will also give you these little like things it notices, so to speak, about that stuff, and kind of nudge you toward what it can do. So to me, from the standpoint of the usability and the potential usability of it, this is like just much better. This is just much better
Mm-hmm.
because you get the chance to like you're not just staring just at the data. You're staring at the data with a little helper that like knows about this stuff. It knows what it can do. It looks around and sort of makes its own little um uh notes about things and gives you the time
Mm-hmm.
of day there. So I was I think the when we talked about RPT 1, the first version, I was probably 50%, 50-50 between skeptic and like maybe it's cool. And I think 1.5 is pushing me a little bit away from skeptic and a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more toward like, okay, I can
Mm-hmm.
see more value here. I still don't know whether this has made its way into like core SAP products yet.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen any evidence of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but but certainly if this if doing it this way, a general purpose um, table predictor thingy is like 95% as good as like your meticulously crafted that you spent weeks on yourself version of that same
Mm,
thing. That's a bunch of value right there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
that's valuable. So I'm hoping for more, just like with everything I say around here, I'm hoping for more community examples of stuff
Yeah.
um, to go and show what
Yeah,
people
it
are
was
doing with
actually,
this.
yeah, but I'm looking at this, I'm like, uh, just rubbing my nose kind of mentally, like SAP, God damn it. Can't you find better examples? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, guys, and again, it could be, it's kind of recurring story in SAP world. And I'm always so confused by it because it's like you created ERP system. Do you really like not understand like the capabilities or how customers are using it, what are their
Mm,
typical challenges are? Maybe get like one SD consultant on this and like ask their opinion, because I'm looking at this and this example is just profoundly stupid to me because payment terms are copied from the customer master. Why the heck is your sales orders missing this information? I mean, clearly something really went terribly wrong in this organization if they set up customer and they didn't set up the payment terms. I don't
mm.
know. Or there usually some kind of default that it fall backs into. Because as a developer, I've written many user exits which will say, yeah, if there is no payment terms, anything, then go with this one. So there is something because you cannot go forward. Same for sales group, all of this. I mean, it's a valid example and it's probably better at least to use sales orders than some kind of, I don't know, Star Trek or whatever that has nothing to do with business. So I will give them credit where credit is due. But I mean, for cripe's sake, I mean, who does this? Like who, why, and like I just don't understand. And it's disappointing because on those big stages, you see SAP promising you stuff for years, not just last year. It's been going on since they created HANA, because that was big HANA promise, which would be like, oh, hey, you're gonna get this predictive capability where your system it's gonna go and look at like years and decades of climate data, and it's gonna look at the decades of like orange juice, like harvesting data, and it's gonna predict how I don't know how much orange juice your customers are gonna order. And people here, of course, like, oh my god, this is really like differentiator. This is like disrupting economy. And after that, you hear this: what is my payment term in this sales order? Oh, whoopsie do. I, it's like from here to like kind of, how that meme about horse drone where like one part is like beautifully drawn horse and second half is
The
like
second is like,
terrible like terrible like child drawing.
yeah, yep,
This is exactly that. So this is
yeah.
exactly like presentations versus what is actually being shown here. So that's,
Uh,
if you want to use that meme, Paul, for your story, please go ahead. You have full creative license from me.
I'll put
So
a little meme idea generated by Galena yeah, on the thing there. Yeah.
oh my goodness. But it's like, okay. I'm climbing off my soapbox. But SAP, like, oh my God, just find better
It's all
examples,
about the
guys.
examples. It's always
Yep.
the
Yep.
examples. So another thing, I just noticed this in the SAP news thing. This is actually a couple days ago
Mm.
that it popped up in there, and like this is sort of a usually this SAP News Center is like snooze fest of like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I don't care. The reason I hitched onto this one was a couple things. One, just in general, um, there was actually no to maybe I need to reread it. There was no sales pitch in this
Mm.
piece. And I
Mm.
was like, wow, kudos. Like it's I mean, clearly you can tell what's happening. Like this person is a
Yeah,
scientist
okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, you
Yeah.
get it, right? But the content itself was not, it did not say, find
Mm.
out more at sysfactors.com slash
Yeah. Well, they want
buy
you
now
to,
or whatever,
yeah,
right?
to read report, but it's like, yeah, there's nothing to
Yeah.
sell in the report, I guess.
The other thing, this is actually something. This touches on some stuff that I that you and I have been talking about, which is, you
Mm,
know, early career people who are looking to get hired. Um, Applications go through the roof. Like
mm,
I'm doing some hiring right now at my company, and yeah, this is exactly what is going on. And you should like I feel like I'm getting like the science says
mm.
that like it's hard to actually determine what is AI written and not AI written.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
by a machine, it's hard for a machine to determine. I'll tell you what, I can tell it a mile away with these applications.
yeah, yeah,
They're like
yeah.
for whatever reason, the job descriptions we have out there produces this like bland oatmeal of like JavaScript, Python, Go
Mm-hmm.
in these like ridiculously shitty little blurbs in the resume.
Mm,
Um, and so you're as like I get the vibe out of those. And then oftentimes in the resume there'll be a link to a LinkedIn profile that does
mm.
not exist. Or
Wow, wow,
the other time there'll be a link to a profile and I'll click the link and the person in the profile will say, "Hey, my somebody is using my profile to apply for jobs. I'm not looking for this job."
wow.
Right? And so like
Jesus.
the stuff that's
Wow.
in the profile does not match their resume in the thing, right? The chatbot is like
Wow.
putting in the things from the job posting into the resume, right? The other thing that's been happening is um this one is particularly hilarious to me is that like it'll have this like bland like no brown sugar oatmeal
Mm,
garbage in the top, and then it will somewhere in the either in one of the job bullet points or in
mm-hmm.
like one of the special accomplishments, it will say implemented X, where X is the thing they're applying to,
Mm,
right? So like so instance, I work at Nova.
mm-hmm.
The applications will say, like the resume will say, I created Nova or I implemented Nova. And I'll be like, you know what? I don't think you did because you're applying to
Yeah,
work here.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that's a pretty quick reject when the resume claims to have invented the thing for which
Yeah.
the person is applying for the job, right?
Help to design and develop Google.
Yeah. And Google
Yeah.
HR is like, wow,
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad. Thank you
Welcome
for
back.
inventing
Yeah.
Google. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
That never worked there.
so like I have this funny thing, but I actually think there are some like decent steps in here to reconsider. Um, I do think, for example, this there's a rethink entry level roles here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, uh, like this junior employee is doing routine repetitive tasks. Like you and I just a few minutes ago, we were like,
Yeah.
oh, we hate that kind of crap. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's what's happening today too with like I think junior employee people too, the ones who are being hired are kind of probably being given the shit jobs and like somewhere if you don't believe that that employee is actually worth investing in the long term,
Mm.
then you're just gonna not only are you gonna keep doing this, people are gonna keep hating it and have gonna have
Mm.
slow career progression, all this kind of
Mm.
stuff. So I think there is a world where we need to everybody needs to rethink what it means to be entry level and what people
Mm.
need to do in entry level jobs. Um, for that too. The
Mm.
I am less certain. I mean, I need to read more into detail about this one. I'm less certain about this. Like I always, I do kind of think oftentimes technology gets in front of
Yeah.
where you should have had a good idea first.
Yeah.
So I need to sort of apply a skeptical eye to this one. But the idea here is that like because I'm getting older, because you and I are both in the far right of the distribution of those SAP developer survey demographic thing.
Yeah.
We both made the jump one pile over in the
Yeah.
chart, right? Um, um, like I think about younger folks more and more now because of that,
Mm.
and so I think this is pertinent now for the world to really be thinking about. This is changing.
Yeah.
So
And
that's my take
yeah.
here.
It's just interesting you were talking about I mean, article written about this repetitive tasks, etc. I have to say though that I get it that too much of that it's obviously bad. But when you're at the very beginning of learning something, like I was learning ABAP 20 some years ago, right? And when I started, I did a lot of repetitive tasks technically because it's like, okay, it's one ALV report, then another ALV report. Technically, kind of the same thing, but you do need repeat a little bit so that you get more comfortable and learn. It's like training or
Yeah.
anything. It's like there is some repetition required, I think, maybe. I mean, it depends on the person. Some people may need more to really kind of get a hang of it. Some may need less. And this is, I don't know if technology can support whoever is in charge of this, but maybe adjusting to the person preferences, that would be, I think, the best
Mm,
possible
mm,
outcome.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's like because I'm also seeing um slightly cocky posts on Reddit, especially where people are like, oh, I already spent like I know 3 months learning ABAP. Oh, I think I know everything I can about this already. So when is my next salary increase? And then people are like, buddy, like you don't know like anything. You don't know how much you don't know. So there is also that. Yeah, maybe I mean people don't understand that they need maybe some boring and repetitive tasks at
Right,
the
right.
beginning, which will set them better for long term, remembering how to do things. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I might be slightly old fashioned in that regard, but I just find it's like building other skills. I think you do need to do it a little bit over time. So
Mm,
yeah,
mm, yeah. Okay, so that's my those are our takes on the universe. Those are the things that we'll write about, and probably other stuff too. I had a couple other ones that were kind of lower on my priority list,
yeah,
and maybe one of them will sneak back up there. I don't know. But as always, this is a pretty good sampling of what we'll be coming up with. So guys, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, send some hate mail, all those things. We're looking forward to it. And we hope you enjoy the stuff we put together.
yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.